Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
Okay.
How did Nick know when to do this crime, time-wise, that morning?
I told him.
Who planned this murder?
I did.
Was someone else involved in the unaliving of DeeDee Blanchard other than Gypsy and Nicholas Godejohn? In this video, we're going to be talking about the man in the raincoat theory. And the reason we're talking about this is because it's recently been brought back up again, and many people still believe this theory, that some mystery man or even Dan Glidewell was actually involved in the unaliving of DeeDee Blanchard. Now, the theory about Dan Glidewell's involvement circulated about a year ago, which I previously made a YouTube video going over why people thought he was involved and why I do not think he's involved. The theory about the man in the raincoat picked up steam about 6 months ago, and I made a TikTok video addressing this and why it's just blatantly false. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my TikTok video I made, and then we're going to talk afterwards. Was someone else involved in the unaliving of DeeDee Blanchard, and who is the man in the raincoat? So this video was recently shared by Lauren Cherie here on TikTok. I'll tag her down below, where she is showing a clip of Nicholas Godejohn's interrogation. This video was originally from the Mum Drum on YouTube, where they took Nick's interrogation and put captions over top with what they believe Nick is saying.
Oh, I gotta tell her that. I didn't realize there was a female talking to me. I didn't realize a female deputy.
So in that clip and the way they slowed it down and edited it, it sounds like Nick is saying somebody in a raincoat was helping me the entire time. However, that is not what Nick is saying. Nicholas Godejohn's interrogation was extremely long. I believe it was 16 hours. But we also have the transcript available from law enforcement's case file. So I'm going to show you what Nick is actually saying according to law enforcement's report.
Oh, I gotta tell her that.
Here comes the
That's only a link up. I thought about it. I tell her. I didn't realize there was a female talking to me. I didn't realize a female deputy. The chapter, I'm so out of it. I'm so out of it. I'm so worried about her Gypsy though. I'm gonna ask her a question. Question that maybe she can explain to me and answer to. Ask her, besides being honorable, where does the truth get me? Besides that.
Now, it's important to know the additional context as to what Nicholas is talking about during that portion. So I went through and I put captions on this video, and I put in red raincoat part and what he's actually saying. Now, right before this, the female detective had walked out of the room, and Nick makes a comment saying like, oh, I need to tell her that, talking about the female detective. Then he goes on to say that he didn't realize they were going to have a female talk to him, a female deputy. So while it does sound like he's saying something about a raincoat, if you're looking at their captions, plus with what they've done of slowing it down or speeding it up or editing that audio, your brain really does think that that's what you hear. But when you look at the case file, that's not what he's saying. Now, I wanted to go over this again because this whole raincoat man theory has been since brought up again. I know it was mentioned on Sir Morbid's YouTube channel the other night, and people were talking about where it originated from. I said that I had talked about it previously in a TikTok video and that I would post it here on YouTube so that people could see. Now, this video, like I said, was originally posted by this Mum Drum YouTube channel about 6 months ago. And I found out about the video, I believe, because someone had sent me a message about it. So I went to go check it out and I watched it. And I had also just recently read the transcript from Nick's interrogation. So I knew that that's not what he was saying during that portion. And I actually remember leaving a comment telling them this and typing out what he's actually saying during that part of the interrogation. However, they have now since turned off comments on that post, so I can't even go back and find my comment if I wanted to, but comments are open on a second video they made where they have a theory about Dan's involvement. And I think that they may have turned comments off because there were a lot of people that were correcting them, because what they did was they took Nick's interrogation and put their own captions over it with what they thought he was saying, and a lot of them are wrong. And we know they're wrong because, again, we have a copy of the transcript. And this is where things can get dangerous, especially with true crime cases, is that people can speculate and have their own theories on things. But if it's speculation or your personal theory, then you need to be sure to specify that. But if there are also facts and hard evidence to refute what you're speculating about, then it's just basically putting out false information. And it's dangerous because there's a lot of people in these comment sections that are just believing this video, and those people are not going to go fact check this. They're not going to go read through Nick's transcript of the interrogation. They may not even know where to find it. So when you're putting things out like this that are blatantly false, it can be very dangerous in true crime cases. There's a few comments on here saying like, "This needs to go viral, fantastic work," or "Wow, I've never heard these comments before or seen this video before." Yeah, because it's not true. Like, it's not factual information. And then that in turn fuels more conspiracy theories about other people being involved, Dan being involved, Nick not actually being the one to unalive DeeDee. There's a comment even that says, "OMG, the law knew this man didn't actually unalive that woman's mother." And then this part makes no sense. They stuck him to a disabled man, a mentally disabled man. She made him STAB, a dead body. Like, no, that did not happen. Like, we have to really think, like, if Nicholas Godejohn did not commit this crime and had no part to do with it, don't we think by now that he has learned that he will be spending the rest of his life in prison and failing to get appeals, that he would have come forward and said that already? Like, it's a wild theory. And listen, I'm all for theories. I love a good conspiracy theory. But when there's not evidence to back up the conspiracy theory, it's blatantly false. And we have to be careful about information that we're taking in and putting out, especially in true crime cases. Anytime there's new theories or I get new information, I be sure to try to fact check that in the best way that I can. In this second video that they made kind of was insinuating that Dan was involved. And I even have a video that I made previously going over why people thought that Dan was involved, what their arguments were, and then I gave my opinion that I don't think that he's involved. And one of the main things that they were using to say Dan was involved was from Nick's interrogation, where he says that he would apologize to everyone except for Dan. That was like the main thing that they were using because people were not understanding the rest of what he was saying during that interrogation. So I actually have a separate video going over that entire thing. I will link it in the comments or the description of this video if you want to check it out. I do not think that anyone else was involved in this crime, and I don't think Dan Glidewell was involved either. Here's another comment. "So much of this you interpreted just totally wrong." There's several comments telling them that they got the captions wrong here. And like I said, I think it's perfectly fine for people to have their own thoughts, opinions, and theories on things, but I think that when there's hard evidence to refute the theory, then it's not a good theory. Or in the very least, you want to make sure that your audience knows, like, hey, this is my interpretation and my theory, and this YouTube channel didn't really do that. They just put out the video, put their own captions on it, and didn't really disclose anywhere like, hey, this is what I think Nick is saying. Because then by not doing that, a lot of people who come across the video and watch it, who either don't or can't fact check it for themselves, are then going to go share it across other social media platforms, and then more and more people are going to see it, and it's just going to fuel even more wild theories and conspiracies. What I do as a content creator and what I encourage other people to do is, with anything you see on the internet, you have to try to research and fact check it for yourself. And I also know and understand that not everyone has the resources or even time to do those things. So if you're one of those people that may not be able to do that or just doesn't have the time, if you're going to share something, I would just be sure to say that, this is speculation, this is all alleged, this is my opinion, whatever it is you need to say to convey that, hey, this may not be factually true, so draw your own conclusions and do your own research. With that being said, that concludes the man in the raincoat theory. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.